Hi, everybody. I'm Brendan Murphy.
Mathew Brown.
All right, we are back this week talking about another episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 11, The Heiress. So, Matthew, what'd you think of this episode?
This was a fun one.
Right?
Really fun episode.
I agree with you. Comparing it to, the first season of The Mandalorian, after about, the first 3 or 4 episodes, I was kind of checking out a little bit.
Definitely.
I was kind of just I don't know exactly where this is going. I'm not getting super into it. And I know a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was just building a solid foundation to what was coming and everything.
Sure, for sure.
But I was just okay, I've seen stuff like this before. I feel like we're not doing a ton. I feel like we're just kind of learning a lot right now. We're having to eat our vegetables right now. But once we get going, it's great.
Right.
But I feel like this season is just hit the ground running, because I know you weren't hot on the last week's episode. I loved last week's episode. These two are probably some of my favorite episodes of the show so far.
Okay.
I had a great time with the one last week. I think this week was even better.
This week
so
impressed me a lot. Even in it was a real short episode too, only 30 minutes. But
yeah,
super impressive what they packed into those 30 minutes.
for sure. Which is a great thing I love about the show. We haven't talked about it too much, but just the confidence to be one week we'll do maybe 50. Next week we'll do maybe 28.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly no adherence to the rules of television. No, it has to be this long. These things haven't happened before this minute. These things have to happen after this minute, or whatever that. It's literally just we're gonna make 28-minute episode. Then next week we're gonna do 40.
Two things on that. One, I think that shows just where we're transitioning in this age of subscription-based films and TV shows. Think about it, we're watching this on Disney Plus. 5-10 years ago, this wasn't. There was Netflix or nothing.
Yeah.
So just I think one, it shows that, and two, what I really like about that though is it gives it more of a. When each episode's the same, it's that classic, like you said, TV show. When it's this, it feels more like I'm reading a book and I'm just reading the next chapter. I mean, I guess it's literally called Chapter 11, so there you go. But it's just, that's what I really like about it. It's they don't have to be the same. It's just all right, this is just what happens in this chapter. It's a little shorter. Oh, well, live with it. Wait to see what happens next chapter.
I mean, honestly, specifically, these 3 episodes, each one has looked completely different.
Absolutely.
And I know that has a lot to do with, different directors, everything like that. But you look at something in the Disney brand, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all those movies largely look the same, have the same color palette, kind of have the same tone, whether it's a Captain America or a Thor or whatever. Maybe the James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy movies or some other stuff is a little bit different, or they have a little more creative control to mess around with kind of how those movies look.
Mm-hmm.
But this is literally just the first week was going back to Tatooine, reds, everything like that, super orange, everything. And then last week, winter,
blue,
a lot of blue, very cold, everything like that. And then this week is just I don't know if you were you into Game of Thrones at all? Or anything like that when it ran?
I watched the first 2 or 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. I wasn't able to watch all of it though.
Fair.
Didn't hold my attention long enough.
That's fair. Do you remember the Iron Islands at all? Where Theon? Gotcha. Well, for anyone who watched Game of Thrones, this, it looks exactly or felt exactly like the Iron Islands that Theon Greyjoy went back to in season 2. Super just I don't know. I mean, the basic word I can use to describe this aesthetic is just wet. It's just wet. The whole thing just looks absolutely wet, and it looked great.
Yeah, it almost gives me a feel of it's not this wet, but in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when he goes to that island to see the army, and there's all that water. That's a little bit extreme wet, but kind of along those lines.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, I just love how each week we're getting something different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so many shows feel they need to adhere to a certain look and a certain feel every single week. Mm-hmm. And I feel this is not what the show is doing at all. I feel it's kind of letting its creative run away with whatever they want to do in the Star Wars universe. And the Star Wars universe is big and the Star Wars universe is crazy. And I like that they're leaning into all of that.
Yeah, well, this is like such a raw space for the Star Wars universe because it's like, it's not the cartoon show, so you can't,
Mm-hmm.
you get back into this real life stuff, and what am I trying to say here? I feel like they're limitless here, just where they can go anywhere they want with this, and what you were talking about on the color thing, I think they even kind of foreshadowed to it. I don't think they were like purposely trying to do it, but they're talking about going to this forest island or forest planet. So I'm thinking next week it might be a lot of greens and stuff. It could be a totally different texture again, which I really hope they do.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what I guess they're going to introduce. There's another Jedi. So I'm getting real excited to see.
Yeah, it's Ahsoka.
Getting really excited.
I mean, because I know you watched Clone Wars a little bit. It's freaking Ahsoka Tano. She's coming in. Like
Ahsoka. That was the girl with the white. That was his. Okay. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like that's the
shit.
That
name sounded familiar when I first heard it. I was like, where have I heard that? I know.
Yeah. For sure. I'm fucking hyped. Like I can't wait for that shit.
I've never seen a real life version of her, so I don't know what that's gonna look like.
No, I don't think there has been one. Honestly, like I think it's just been restricted to the cartoons and everything like that. But that's like, great. I think it's from what I heard, the talk was I think it's Rosario Dawson is supposed to be Ahsoka Tano. Okay. So like, we'll see how that goes. I'm super excited.
Hell yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun to see that. But yeah, man. And then another thing I love, it was like a little thing, but I love how in the first season they make that helmet like they make it a big thing. Like no one takes off the helmet. You take off the helmet, you ain't shit. Like you ain't part of it. Like everything like that. Like I love how like it happened in the first episode of the season. It happened in this episode. But it's just like when someone takes off that helmet, not only does like the Mandalorian wreck, like I feel like personally as an audience member, I was like, you don't do that shit. What are you doing?
Yeah. I love it. Was so funny. He just flew off and everything. He was like, he's just gone.
Yeah, it's just like, you bunch of fakers, no shot. Get out of here. I don't want your help. No way. Like, save my life. I don't give a shit. Like,
hilarious, man.
It's great. And I like how this episode was just like, yeah, like we've given you like the little Mandalorian religion, but like there are different sects and shit. And I was like, wait, hold up. They're doing this? Like, I just love like we're going deeper and deeper into this shit. And I love that. I love when Star Wars decides to just go like, hey, let's fucking do some weirder shit. So the Mandalorian like is a religion, right? We're going to like have like these different sections of it. And like, these people don't agree with these people. These people don't agree with those people over there. Like, I'm so hyped to like, hear and see more of that.
Yeah, we're finding out about this Dark Watch fake way. So like, who knows what that is? Mm-hmm. It's real interesting. Well, side note, yeah. How adorable when the frog people find each other.
Oh, it's great. It's adorable.
It's incredible.
It's a nice moment.
It's like incredible.
Like it feels like that moment at the beginning of like some kind of like big action movie where it's like, oh, you care for these people. Look at this. And then like, in the big action set piece, like an hour later, you see the frog people again. You're like, oh no, the frog people are in danger. I need them to not be in danger no more. Like it feels exactly like that. And like, I was all in on the frog people. They were great. I don't know what specifically about this episode. I think because it was just like, there was a little more about it, but just like so many times I just like had to like go to myself, like internally, just like, I fucking love puppets. Like, I love when they're done this well. Like, I know there are people inside their suits, but like, I just fucking love the baby. Like, you saw like the little baby, like little toad thing, how he's like moving around and shit like that. I was just like, that's so cool. Like,
with the little baby frog that was in the.
No, but like he's playing with him like at the end. Like he's like in the little bowl or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I was just like, and now they're doing more shit with that. And just like, I know a million people have talked it for over 1 million hours, but like the Baby Yoda puppet still just fucking, it gets me.
It's cute. Every time you see it, it's cute.
It's cute. It's fucking hysterical too. Like, I feel like obviously we got some stuff in the first season with Baby Yoda where he's like little, like pretty funny and everything like that. But like, I feel like we're finally crossing over to that area where he's just going to be like a little stinker for like the whole time.
Yeah, he's definitely got more attitude in this second season. He's got attitude for sure.
It's like we were talking about with Home Alone. Like, Macaulay Culkin is like, yeah, he's turning in a good performance. He's doing great. And then he's like, I'm the biggest thing on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I do, you're going to love. So just sit down, shut up. I'm going to be Baby Yoda. And that's great.
I'm untouchable.
Yeah. He can do whatever he wants. Like, I just, like, at the end when, like, the little octopus thing is coming down and it's just, like, about to just eat the shit out of him. I was like, oh, next week are we just doing, like, a straight-up Alien episode? Like, what's going to happen? Like, you see him, like, crawling up, and I'm like, is he going to go into the rafters? And there's just going to be a big old...
Yeah.
And then just, like, Baby Yoda's just like, am I going to eat this thing? Is this thing going to eat me? There's a whole little standoff. And then just, like, when the Mandalorian finally crushes it, he's just, like, got, like, a little smile on, like, yay, I'm Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm. Just like, I knew it would be okay.
I'm unstoppable. I'm invincible.
Yeah.
Nothing bad's ever going to happen to me. Like, now, he goes through the ringer. Like, he gets his little cradle broken in this episode, which was very sad to see.
Well, yeah, he gets swallowed whole by a freaking... Hold on. Yeah, he gets swallowed whole by a monster. He doesn't exactly...
He sure does.
He doesn't exactly...
Dude. That fucking shit was great. I mean,
I didn't see it coming. I had kind of a feeling, but I don't know. I didn't. It really kind of shocked. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's that thing where I don't know. This show has a good way of like lulling you into like a false sense of security about these things. Like, because I feel like there's a 50-50 chance that either this person is going to help him or screw him over pretty much every time. Mm. Like whoever he meets. So he's just like, oh, well, he got fucking, like, almost spidered to death last episode, so, like, I think he's due for a break. His ship is destroyed. He can't do nothing. He, like, landed in the, like, big old ocean or whatever.
Which was hilarious. Hilarious.
Whoa. Dude, here's another thing. I feel like with Star Wars specifically, the older and more beat up a ship gets, the cooler it is. Like, that's why the Millennium Falcon
is... character, dude. It's got character.
That's why the Millennium Falcon is the greatest thing in the world, because, like, it's fucking beat to hell. It looks like shit. It's got a big old bite in the middle of it. Like, it's fantastic. And, like, you know, Empire Strikes Back, obviously one of the best things about it is that it's just, like, the ship does not work the whole time. That's the best thing about the Millennium Falcon and Empire Strikes Back. It's just it
doesn't work the whole movie.
Never works. He's just, literally, if you watch that movie, Han Solo just beats the shit out of the ship. Like, he's punching it, he's slapping it, banging it on it. It's just like, that's all he's doing the whole movie. Is just like, why the fuck won't you work? Why won't you work? Really? What's happening? Like,
dude, I'm extremely jealous. My roommate got a huge TV up on his wall. He just ran through all 9 in 2 days. Nice. He really had never really done that and like sat down and watched them all. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay.
It's good shit right there. I mean, probably around this holiday season, like, because I'm that kind of son of a bitch who, like, took his stimulus check and was like, I want all the Star Wars 4K Blu-rays, please. And I still haven't watched all of them, like, in quick succession and everything like that. I've, like, watched a bunch of scenes from each of them. Like, the first thing you do when you get that is you pop in the lightsaber fight from Empire Strikes Back. Just, like, all those shadows, all those, like, cool colors, everything like that.
Yeah, dude, the 4K versions of the old movies look crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
Look great.
This looks like it was made today.
Oh, 100%.
The remastered version is incredible. It's incredible how they can do that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, those look great. Like, even the new 4Ks of, like, the newer trilogy look great. Okay. Like, Force Awakens on 4K is an absolute delight. Okay. Like, truly looks fantastic. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, this, like we were kind of saying earlier, like, when I first started watching the show, when it first premiered, I just wasn't feeling it a lot. I was like, okay, here we go. Here's another Stranger Things where, like, everyone else is going to be tweeting about it every single week. Yeah. And I'm not going to get into it. And I'm just going to be, like, kind of on the outside looking in, which kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. But, like, it finally feels like the show is, like, being Star Wars. Like, I finally feel like we're getting to that point where it's, like, every week I'm like, oh, yay, it's Star Wars time. Let's go.
I agree. And I think the setup for coming next week sounds like it should be more of the same. And that's really exciting. Definitely. Yeah. It's nice to feel like you got a fresh, you know, little Star Wars movie every week. It's like, all right, here we go.
Like
this, dude. Let's sit down and get back into this universe. It's fun.
Yeah. Like, I haven't had this feeling in a while since the pandemic started, but, like, literally, like, obviously because we're releasing it late, we didn't record it at midnight when it dropped.
Right.
But like, I got home, I showered. It's like super dark now because we're in regular time and everything like that. And I like sat down in front of my TV. It's pitch black. I fired it up and I was like, I feel like I'm in a movie theater right now because it's like I'm watching Star Wars right now. And like there's just a certain feeling with like good Star Wars shit where you're just like, this is exactly what I want. Like just, I don't know. It's a weird thing to describe how Star Wars, like specifically for me, makes me feel. Like even with a movie that I didn't like a whole lot, Rise of Skywalker, I was not a huge fan, but like I still went to go see that movie twice in theaters. And each time I was like, I'm watching Star Wars. This is great. Like, This is fun. But like after I was like, there's a lot of problems with that movie that I can't really forget. But like I was still like in the middle of just like, oh, there's an X-Wing. Oh, this is great. I'm just having so much fun. Like, I don't know, just like especially when they like take over that Imperial ship in this episode. Like I was just like, hell yeah, we're raiding in like an Imperial ship.
Anytime I see stormtroopers, I get pretty excited. I'm not
right.
I definitely feel at home when I see a stormtrooper.
Yeah. And I love how now, like, it's not even, like, a joke anymore. Like, everyone in the universe knows, like, stormtroopers cannot hit anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally can't shoot anything.
I mean, they've been making that joke the whole series, too, because, like, I remember in, I think it's episode 6 of last season, where it's, like, the prisoner, like, even when they were, like, introducing Bill Burr's character and everything, it was, like, he was an Imperial sniper. It was, like, and the Mandalorian makes some crack. He's like, can he hit anything? And he's like, I wasn't a fucking stormtrooper. Like, come on. Don't even.
Right.
I wasn't one of those guys. I can hit stuff. Like, don't even.
Hilarious.
And, like, one of the best bits of last season and, like, for me, maybe one of the funniest moments in all of Star Wars is in the last episode when it's those two stormtroopers on the speeder bikes. It's, like, Jason Sudeikis and somebody else under the helmets, but like they're going back and forth waiting outside with Baby Yoda. And they're just like, yeah, the bad guy is like, he's going on with his speech and everything. He just killed somebody who interrupted him. Like we're doing all this, but like they do like a little target practice with like a rock that's like maybe like 10 yards away. They can't hit it. Like, I love that. I love that we're just like all in agreement. Like, yeah, stormtroopers, they can't hit shit. Like
never have been able to. They're useless.
Yeah. Like they've never hit anybody. It's great. I love it. We're all but I mean, I guess we can talk a little bit about the plot. We'll do a quick rundown. So obviously we talked about earlier kind of that like opening landing sequence, which is great. I had like it's specifically like that kind of Star Wars stuff. Like there is like I feel like we overblow it a little bit because it's Star Wars and it like it's tough to not be romantic about Star Wars and like kind of blow it up that way. But there's such good like screenwriting technique and like storytelling technique that Star Wars birthed and everything like that. And just like that always looks like so close, but not quite. We're just like, he's about to do the most badass thing you've ever seen. Like land this hunk of junk and everything like that. And just like topples over into the ocean, which yeah, that got a big laugh out of me. Then he needs to find the Mandalorians that are around. He pays off some people. He gets that info, and they betray him because obviously this is a Western in a like samurai movie. And like when you hire people, they're gonna betray you because like that's what happens in these things. And then we meet these 3 other Mandalorians who I don't know their names and I can't pronounce them as far as just like the characters.
The only one I remember.
Bo-Katan, who was played by Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica, everything like that. Riddick, shout out to Vin Diesel, my Instagram namesake. Sasha Banks, also one of the Mandalorians. And Simon, I'm going to fuck up his last name, and I apologize. I think it's Cassianides or something like that. And, you know, it's just, like, they're just taking the exact things we want and giving us, like, more of it. Just in the exact right amount, too.
Right.
Like, the specific just like, okay, we're going to have a shorter episode and we're going to give you like 3 extra Mandalorians that are going to like beat the shit out of stormtroopers. Like, is that good for everybody? Or like, yep.
And you may or may not see them again because they're on their own war apparently. Yeah. There's an offer on the table that stands. So may or may not see them again.
Which I would love to see because like whenever they introduce stuff like that, they're talking about this like big old battle to like retake Mandalore, and I'm like, oh, so we're gonna see that at some point.
I would love to. I pray we get to Mandalore and we're at a battle.
That's the thing, because obviously, Bo-Katan was talking about her like big deal with like taking the ship and everything was not just the weapons and everything. It was to get information on the Darksaber, which is obviously what like Giancarlo Esposito pulled out at the end of the last season. Yeah. So obviously there's something there. There's some overarching like beef between Giancarlo Esposito and the Mandalorians as a whole. So like that's pretty great to know that like probably the big old battle at the end is going to be between like Giancarlo Esposito like leading a whole like army of Imperial troops against like a bunch of Mandalorians, which sounds great. Hope it happens. Would love to see it. And with like the kind of like cultural like thing this is becoming and like how popular it is, how successful it's going to be, like they could do it. Like, you know, if Game of Thrones can get to that point where they're like doing these big old battle episodes, I hope that someday we could see some of that stuff from this show.
I just feel like where they're going with it, this is something that has a lot of room to expand. There's so much they could play with.
I mean, it's already been renewed for a third season.
Okay.
So it's hard to tell like how big they're thinking with the story. It's, I don't know, like that's the other thing too. Like, well, I love like being in the moment, like watching Game of Thrones week to week, like having those like big discussions with my friends about like what's going to happen. What do you think's going to happen? Like, so we got maybe like a couple more seasons because there are only this many books and this is what they're doing with it. But like, I feel like you said, like, where's it going? I don't know. How long is it going to go? I couldn't tell you. Like, it feels just like something you can't really predict yet. And I kind of love that about it.
Exactly.
Like it, like you said, like, I feel like it can go in so many different directions. Like the thing I just spouted, like some people might disagree with just because like another thing that's so charming about the show is that it is kind of so small. Like it's not this overarching huge thing. Like it's just like adventure of the week, which I love that kind of storytelling. And I think it works super well for this show, especially. And for Star Wars, because we haven't been able to see that kind of just like, we're just going to go like to 100 different places.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. But yeah, man, it rules. I'm so happy. But like, so let me think. I do want to talk a little bit about, just cause like, he's a kind of character actor I like, but like the guy who's like the captain of the Imperial ship they're taking over is Titus Welliver, who like a lot from like The Town. He's in a lot of Ben Affleck's like movies that he's directed.
Yeah, he looked real familiar.
Yeah, he's like one of the FBI agents working with John Hamm in The Town. Okay. He's in Gone Baby Gone for a little bit. He's in a couple other things, but like I don't know. Like I love too. Another thing that we haven't talked a whole ton about, just like the actors they get for the show. Like I feel like they have such range as far as just like picking out also just like really good character actors who like fly under the radar, who are people that only like people like me and you will know, who just like watch too many movies and know too many actors and everything like that. And also the bigger people, like you're going to get Rosario Dawson next week, apparently. And even like those little cameos, like in the first episode, John Leguizamo was like one of the aliens in the first scene.
Was
like,
he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Like, it's so charming. Like, I love that, like, Star Wars can make me feel like this, like, week to week, like, having a great time with the show. I don't know. Is there anything else that we can talk about with this? I think we've covered pretty much all the bigger stuff.
For sure.
Super excited for next week. Like we said, big old forest planet like those. Andor's a good one. So, like, why can't we do more good forest planets? Like, I'm down.
Can't go wrong.
No, absolutely not. And Ahsoka Tano, man, I'm excited.
Fingers crossed. That's going to be fun. That should be really fun.
Hopefully it's next week. That's right. That could be one of those things like Game of Thrones where it's just like, we're going to do it in like 3 episodes. Calm down for a second.
Look, they'll get to Ahsoka Tano the last episode of this season. And
I hope they don't do that shit. Because they teed us up to at least see her next episode.
I hope. Who knows? They haven't even flown there, though, so anything could happen. True. But, like, I feel like something the show is doing is it's not doing
that Game of Thrones thing where it's making you like wait and build that. Like, I feel like that's not what this show is doing. Now, if it wants to do that, that's fine. I trust Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to know what they're doing with this kind of stuff. But like, that's kind of what, like, I expect we see her at least by the end. If they just want to do one shot at the end where like we found Ahsoka Tano, that's great. But you can, I don't feel like this is the kind of show that's going to be like, we're going to have you wait 3 seasons till you find her.
I agree. Usually what they say is going to happen at the end of an episode, the next episode that happens. That seems to be what's happening. And at least, even though there's a hiccup on the way, you're right. It usually gets from point A to point B in terms of like, this is what we need to get done by the end of this episode, and they usually do.
Yeah, like,
I agree.
Pretty much. Like, the first episode is just like, okay, so I found someone, like, first episode, it starts, I'm looking for Mandalorians. By the end, oh, I found someone who can take you to Mandalorians. Start of the next episode. Here's the person who, like, is going to take you to the Mandalorians. You got to take them to this place first. End of the episode. Okay, we're about to take you to this place first. Like, it feels like it does have the thing where, like, they tease, like, what the next episode is going to be. Now, that episode could be that they're just, like, the whole time they're trying to find Ahsoka, and at the very end they do. But, like, right. I feel like by the end of next, and especially because they've been, like, dude, I love how upfront they are, too. Like, I love how they're not doing, like, there's a Jedi on this planet to, like, tease you out a little bit or anything like that. Like, they're just straight up front, like, no, it's Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Like, get ready.
Okay.
Because that's another thing. If they want to do that big reveal, the final episode, Ahsoka Tano finally shows up.
You wouldn't say
you don't say her name. You do, like, you're going to find a Jedi on this planet.
You just keep it a mystery.
You tell her my name, like, tell them my name. And, like, they'll reveal themselves or, like, something like that.
That's true. You're right.
So, I feel like we see her next week. Now, if we don't, I'm going to look like a fool, and you're going to have this episode as proof. But, like, that's what I'm feeling. I feel like we see her by the end of next episode.
We'll see.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I know you're excited. Hope you guys are all excited. Thanks for watching this week, guys. Please like, share, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
For sure. Let us know down in the comments what you thought of this week's episode. Love to hear your thoughts. This was a super fun one, I thought. So love to talk more about it with all you guys. And yeah. If you want to follow me and Matt, we'll have all those links down in the description for Instagram, Twitter. And we'll see you guys next week.